cry when I lose you. Some hearts double inside. Your short head grow inch line with the Grinch do. I don't have time cause the race do. Factor in lies that are bear fruit. On the way up, slugfest. Some say no fat, I'm sticking.
And welcome back to the Monday Evening Football Daily Show. We're back. We're happy to be here. We are, pretty much going to provide you updates from around the league, get you in with the sports talk of the NFL, let you know what's happening, what's not. Fantasy football, we'll get into some of that too because we know people are about it. Sports bettings, all that great stuff. We're just going to have the storylines from around the league for you guys. And we're going to do it, well, not today because we're still getting up and running, but we wanted to get an episode in today for you guys. But we're going to be the unofficial Pat McAfee pre-show starting at, 10:30 Central Standard Time. Or is it... Yeah, I think it's 10:30. Right? I think it's 10:30. We're going to go with that. But yeah, we're going to come to you daily, Monday through Friday. We're excited to be here. Just get, more experience in front of the camera. Get our stream better and better. That way, when we're doing our Monday evening football stream on Monday nights, which you should check out, we're way better than Peyton and Eli. It'll be the creme de la creme. We're going to work to get better every day. Bring you guys fantasy football. Bring you guys football news. I mean, I know there's a lot of outlets for football news nowadays with content creators, but I definitely hope you guys, check us out and, follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff. But today, hey, let's get into it. Obviously, we had our Monday Evening Football broadcast that we were doing last night for the Raiders and the team that they played. So, it's, guys, let's just... should we get into it a little bit? That roughing the passer call, that might be the one thing that can bring the NFL down. Obviously, the ref said, hey, we're going to stick with our call. We liked our call that we made last night. And to be honest, it might ruin the NFL, actually. That is the one thing, we thought a lot of things, the Chiefs versus Raiders. We saw a lot of things happen this past week. Tom Brady gets a roughing the passer call. And then, it happens to the Chiefs, and that's a deciding play right there. That's a strip sack. And I did a little research into it. It does look like if the quarterback is in the pocket and he's in that passing posture, and he gets landed on with the full weight, which is like, those are such subjective things. Because, like, is this the passing posture? And a guy tackles me and... tackling through, or do I have to have my hand off the ball, like I'm going to throw it? There's so much subjectivity to that it's a tough call for any of these refs to make, and of course they're going to stand by it. And to be honest, I think Dave Portnoy, he might be on the same page as me here, but I think Roger Goodell and the NFL need to be investigated because I think they're purposely putting in these missed calls or bad calls by the ref to purposely create media stories, get everyone talking the next day about, man, this call was terrible. This call, everyone's talking about that call today and how this rule needs to be changed. And to be honest, I think the NFL actually enjoys that. They get a kick out of that. That, hey, we are this team, or we are this league that is, the best league in the world, but we don't get talked about enough, so we need these refs to make some really, really bad calls to really get the people stirring and talking about it. I would love to do some research on what exactly, or how many impressions did Roughing the Passer tweets or posts or anything like that get yesterday, because I'm sure it was a ton. And I know I saw a ton of people tagging at NFL officiating. They ain't checking that social media, but I think there's an easy fix. We got to have these refs doing post-game press conferences. We need to pay these refs good, and that way we can find these refs when they make bad calls like that. Because when a player does something bad, or a coach, or, a general manager, there's repercussions. But it seems like the only place in the league right now there is no repercussions is, for that reffing category. And I know the NFL has enough money to pay these refs a very good salary to make sure that we're getting the right people in position to make these right calls. And so far we haven't seen it. But in other news this past week, Lovie Smith, he gave a great victory speech. And if you're a Houston Texans fan, you got to be very excited about it. The Texans got their first win this past week. I believe it was against Jacksonville, who's had a pretty strong start. And Lovie Smith after the game says, "Hey, that first one's always tough." And he knows he's coached those Bears teams, which, not super talented top to bottom, but they did get to a Super Bowl with Rex Grossman, which is saying something about Lovie Smith. And he was talking really proud about the guys, showing up to work every day and just working, going after it, coming in, doing the things. And it paid off for the Houston Texans. As much as a dumpster fire the Houston Texans are, I do enjoy seeing Lovie Smith, get a victory there. And I wish Lovie Smith, a lot of success, as the Houston Texans coach. I do think that was one of the smarter moves they made, was to make Lovie the head coach there. But the power rankings did come out, the NFL power rankings, and there's got a little shakeups. Everyone's got their own power rankings. We're pulling ours from the NFL.com website, so don't get upset with us if your team's listed somewhere else. But hey, I think it's no surprise that the Buffalo Bills moved up into the number one ranked for the power rankings. They're just a dominant football team. They are absurdly good. Gabe Davis is coming on strong, which is like a huge addition to Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen just always balling out. That defense with Von Miller and a couple of those other guys, just dominant. Taking the ball away, making plays. It's obvious that the Buffalo Bills are coming in at the number one spot for the power rankings. In the number two spot, we obviously have the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles with Jalen Hurts, making plays. Hey, the Eagles, I don't know. I can't say that they came out of nowhere, but I don't know if we were all expecting Jalen Hurts to make these leaps and bounds. But they have a squad, and so far, they are contenders and not pretenders. So, a strong Jalen Hurts and that Philadelphia Eagles team looking to make waves, looking to get back up into that number one spot. Coming in at number 3, and, they were number 3 last week too, it seems like. We had the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, we saw Patty Mahomes get down early. He got down early. We thought, hey, the Raiders got him figured out, apparently. I don't know what to say. But then Patty Mahomes starts doing what Patty Mahomes does best. Moving those feet, standing in the pocket, ripping touchdowns to Travis Kelce and Travis Kelce only. Kind of hurt my parlays that I had in the game last night. But, hey, it was great football. It was fun to watch. It was fun to broadcast that game. And, yeah, Andy Reid, the Walrus, has them rolling in the right direction as they, continue to 4-1 here. And keep getting stuff done at Arrowhead. So, number 4, which is an interesting one for the power rankings, it's a 3-2 team. They're moving up from one spot from last week's position, but that's the San Francisco 49ers. And obviously, they took care of business against the Panthers. That Panthers team's not a very good team. Obviously, we have some stories about them later in this stream here. But Jimmy G getting in, coming in, playing ball. And that defense with Nick Bosa, it's very strong. So I don't know if I would put San Francisco as the number 4 power ranked team, but that's where they have them listed here. And I guess, you could do arguing for probably these next several spots here. Number 5, they're moving up 2 spots, is the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, Justin Tucker he's just really good at kicking the football through the uprights. And you have Lamar Jackson, obviously, still doing it with his feet. You lose a guy like Hollywood Brown, but it seems like they're still able to give teams fits. And, I could see them being towards the top of the power rankings. And then you have Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in at 6. Minnesota Vikings coming in at 7, which obviously they're now on top of the NFC North. That makes sense, moving up 2 spots. Green Bay dropped down to 8. They are losing 4 spots after just getting, beat by the Giants in London. Not great. It wasn't great. It wasn't fun to watch as a Packers fan, and just not something I'm super excited for. But coming in at number 9, Cincinnati Bengals, we got Joey Burrows. Hasn't really been able to find that magic that they've had the past year. And we'll see if they're able to put it together there. But, they might not be able to. But they might. I mean, they got guys. They got Jamar Chase. They got a good running game. I think it might be that offensive line that's still got to really find a way to protect Joe Burrows. And Joey Burrow, you're going to have to figure out a way to actually, be the guy again. So we will see what happens there. And obviously coming in at 10, which I think maybe they should be a little higher because they're 4-1, is the Dallas Cowboys with Cooper Rush leading the rush. No, I'm kidding. But he is leading that team very well, and they're finding ways to win. Big Mike's down there doing what he's doing best, drawing up the X's and O's, confusing the defense, getting his team to play ball. Jerry Jones is out there saying wild stuff that, Jerry Jones, says. And, number 10, Dallas Cowboys, I could see them being bumped up a couple of spots. I definitely could see the Cowboys being a little better than the Bengals right now. And I wouldn't say the Packers, but maybe, at this point. Maybe. Strong run game with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. You never know. Now we're going to get into a little bit of a quarterback controversy because I don't know if you saw, but Jerry Jones came out and he was talking about Dak Prescott. He's going to start throwing on Wednesday after that, thumb injury that he had. And Jerry Jones, his one big concern is, we'll see. We'll see if he can spin the ball. And not like this. He's not talking this. He's not talking about that. But his concern was that thumb. That thumb. Is that thumb going to be able to grip that ball and really be able to put some zip on the ball? And my question to Jerry Jones is this. Maybe have Dak watch some film of that guy that used to play in Green Bay. War number 4. Not going to announce his name because, he doesn't deserve any more free press after all the free money he stole. But, that might be a guy. He played through a lot of thumb injuries, and you might be able to check something out to be able to get Dak back in the game. But also, Cooper Rush is just finding ways to win, and I think that is probably one of the biggest characteristics you want in a guy at the quarterback position, So, going to be a little bit of a quarterback controversy there. Dak, Cooper, who's going to get the go? But I think either way, the Cowboys are in good hands. And a team that wasn't necessarily in good hands was, the Carolina Panthers. And they made a decision that, hey, Matt, Rhule, I'm sorry, buddy. You're out of here. You got to go. Don't need you no more. He was 11-27 with no playoff appearances. It's, it's tough when you have. That's enough time to get in, get the players you need, and see what you can do. But 11-27 in the NFL is not going to get it done, and you're not going to keep your job very long going 11-27. I don't think the teams have the patience for it anymore. And you got to come in, you got to have the strategy, and you got to come in and play well, coach your team up right, and get them to where they need to get to. And now they have Steve Wilks, who's going to be the interim head coach, and he's already making moves in that position. He fired 2 other assistants that were hired by Matt Rhule. He said it was nothing personal. I think they're great people and great coaches, but we need a fresh start, and we need to do things differently here. And he saw that being a part of that solution there, to move forward for the Carolina Panthers under a kind of a new interim regime. And, it's a strong thing to do right there is to fire 2 other assistants. But I think Steve Wilks might have a successful career in the NFL as a head coach. And maybe for the Carolina Panthers, You might have heard it here first. Probably not. Someone else probably said it already, but you might have heard it here second. No, I'm kidding. But speaking of coaching and coaching decisions, Josh McDaniels and his staff have no regrets for not kicking the extra point. And to me, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Because, I mean, you kick that extra point, you don't have to go down and get a field goal. You don't need to get into field goal range. You don't need a touchdown there because the game's tied. You can make a better play call, a better decision in those late games. I don't know what these analytics have gotten out of hand to me, because they are making these coaches do a bunch of stuff that, like, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's that old Billy Bean thing with Moneyball, where it's like, yeah, he did the analytics and it got him far, but he forgot that, like, hey, at the end of the day, we still got to play baseball. And, you know, I think you're starting to see a similar thing with football happen. And, you know, I think just to come out and say there's no regrets for not kicking the extra point. Like, I don't know what the angle was. Like, either your defense was going to get a stop, and then, like, okay, hey, we're up one, we could run out the clock, or your defense wasn't going to get a stop, and you were going to have to go back out there anyways down. They probably would have went for 2, so either down 6 or 7, you know. So it just, I think there you just take the points, tie the game up, and you're starting to get some momentum back, go into overtime. Unless you didn't, I think they probably have no regrets about it because they didn't think that they could beat Kansas City in overtime, in Arrowhead, which, hey, that might be true. You're on the road. You wanted to go for the victory. You didn't get it. You had another opportunity. Couldn't get it done. And then you got Davante Adams pushing photographers after the game. It's just a whole mess. You know, do I love seeing that the Raiders are kind of a dumpster fire? A tiny bit of me does, you know, because Davante Adams chose them over us. Selfishly, you know. That's selfish thoughts of me. Now, he wasn't selfish. He was doing what's best for him. Got to understand that. But it does, right? I'm sure it brings some Packers fans maybe just a tiny bit of joy to see, you know, Davante struggling. Not him not struggling, but the team struggling. Davante's still out there catching, whining and dining, and getting into that end zone. That ain't no problem there. And hey, you gotta give it up for Travis Kelce too, getting 4 touchdowns in that game to really bring him back in it and win overall. So, you know, that's you know, coaches, you know, they don't regret the mistake that they made, and it is a mistake because it was the wrong decision. But someone who did make a mistake, who is a coach, came back and said, you know what, I was wrong. And that was Ron Rivera of the Washington Commanders. And I'm sure you guys probably saw, but he had a press conference, and, you know, a reporter asked him, you know, what's the difference between, you know, some of the other teams in the division and the Washington Commanders? And he said it's quarterback. And they were kind of taken back by that kind of honesty. And it did cause some negative attention to come to the Commanders, which, I mean, that team's like a magnet for negative attention. Thank you, Dan Snyder. But, yeah, and then he realized after the kind of the backlash that he kind of had a mea culpa moment, and he should have known better, and he talked to Carson, talked to the whole team, apologized, which I think really shows what Ron Rivera is about, because at the end of the day, he is about winning, he's about football, but more importantly, I think Ron Rivera has shown it through his career, he is about people. He's about his teammate, or, you know, his coaching staff, his players, all that stuff. So I think he realized, you know, maybe being a little too honest in a post-game presser, or, you know, talking with the media, and realized how sometimes being too honest or too forward in your thought process can lead to a little backlash that, you know, you might have to back up. But, I mean, it's tough. I mean, Carson Wentz, after going to Indianapolis, and then kind of not Pat McAfee running him out of town, but Pat McAfee seeing the play and just commenting on it. You know, he kind of has this target on his back as, maybe not the best quarterback, or maybe not the guy to get the job done, but, teams still took a chance on him. And, I think maybe you're seeing Ron Rivera be a little upset with some of the things that he does on the field, coming a little honest. And, so it's not the best for the Washington Commanders there. But good to see Ron Rivera taking ownership of the words that he said, or, the decisions that he made to, say that, and, say, second thought, I was wrong. So, but yeah, hey, that's all we got for you today on the Monday Evening Football Daily Stream. We will be back tomorrow, obviously, and every other day, Monday through Friday, before the Pat McAfee Show, and we just look forward to bringing you guys some news around the league, and we hope you like, subscribe, all that stuff, and we will be back tomorrow with a little more show. Our goal is to get these shows better and better for you guys. Eventually have guests on. We're just like a little Pat McAfee right now. That's all we are. And he does it right. He's the creme de la creme. That's where everyone's aiming to be. They all want to be the Pat McAfee Show. But in doing that, you got to do it your own way. You got to be yourself. That's why he's winning. That's why no one can replicate it, because Pat's just being Pat. And we're going to be Monday Evening Football with the Real Scotty O Show. Follow me on Twitter, across all the other platforms, all that good stuff, bing, bang, bong. And we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.